Ethan received 0 prison time for this crash after a psychologist testified that Couch was a victim of affluenza.
Yes, folks, you heard that right. Affluenza, not influenza.
Have you never?
As in the
I didn't
flu.
even hear.
It's made up, dude. It's a made up word, and it means affluent. Like when you're rich, you're affluent. So being affluenza is when you're too fucking rich to like know the difference between good or bad.
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel and welcome to another episode of Found. And I'm really excited to tell you about this case because I've been following it for a really long time and it's very, very interesting. And I also love doing this series because these stories always end good, which is rare when doing crime videos. So it's definitely nice to have these found videos to counteract the where is videos that end, you know, with no answers. So here we go. Let's go back to 2002. There was a woman named Michelle Knight. Michelle was born in April of 1981. Michelle actually was bullied quite a bit. She was called Shorty at her school and she was even assaulted at school. She ended up dropping out of high school after becoming pregnant, and shortly after giving birth, she ended up losing her child to Child Protective Services. Michelle did have some developmental delays. On August 23rd of 2002, she was at her cousin's house. As she left her cousin's house, she was approached by a vehicle, and the man inside this vehicle asked her if she wanted a ride. She actually knew one of his daughters, so she decided to take the ride because he was someone she knew and she needed a ride. And he actually convinced her to come back to his house with him because he offered her a puppy and said that she could give this puppy to her son. So she went to his house, which was located at 2207 Seymour Avenue. And this man was named Ariel Castro, and Michelle actually knew one of his daughters. When she was in the house, she was restrained and imprisoned, and this would be the start of years of torture. And Michelle was raped many, many times. In fact, they believe she was impregnated 5 times while in captivity with Ariel. She lost all of those babies due to miscarriage because she was malnourished and abused. Meanwhile, Michelle's family decided to take her off the missing persons registry after about a year because they thought she just ran away. They thought she was upset about her son, losing her son, and decided to start a new life and just left. So not even a year after he took Michelle, he decided he wanted to take someone else. This is Amanda Berry. Amanda's a super sweet girl, worked at a Burger King. On April 21st, 2003, she had just finished her shift there and was walking home. And what's crazy about it is she almost took that day off because her birthday was the next day. So she almost wouldn't have been there to be kidnapped in the first place. She was taken off the same street as Michelle Knight was, Lorraine Avenue. And it happened pretty much the same way that it did with Michelle. He rolled up, she recognized him, she knew one of his daughters, and she accepted a ride from him. And Ariel asked her if she would want to go see his daughter, hang out with his daughter at their house, and she said yes. She hadn't seen her in a while, so she went back with him to his house. When they got into the house, the bathroom door was shut, and Ariel said, "Oh, I think my daughter's taking a bath." But this is when he took Amanda into a closet and he raped her. He then chained her to a radiator, chains, actual chains, and they were tied around her stomach, and the chain was only 5 feet long. So that was her whole world. The radius of 5 feet was her whole life. He even taped up her ankles, put a helmet over her head, and he told her that if she was quiet and good, eventually he'd take her home, and she hoped that he would. But it wouldn't be long until she realized that that was not going to happen.
He would always tell me when he got another girl in the house that, you know, I'm just looking for another girl and then I'll take you home.
And when she first got in the house, she peered into one of the bedrooms and she saw another woman laying there who was Michelle Knight. So that's when she started to connect the dots. She was screaming, trying to get people's attention, but no one heard her. He always had the radio up super loud so that people outside the house couldn't hear what was going on inside. Then about another year goes by, April of 2004, April 2nd, 2004. Ariel decides he needs another girl.
Castro goes on the prowl again, hunting, just 5 blocks away from the street where he kidnapped Amanda.
This is Gina DeJesus, and she was actually at a payphone, and she had called one of her friends to ask if they could sleep over, and after going back and forth, the girl was asking her mom if she could sleep over. The mom said no, so Gina ended up hanging up the phone and started heading home. And this is when she ran into Ariel Castro. He took her, brought her back to the house as well. And the girls lived like these 3 prisoners in his house for years.
But through the years of their captivity, they held on to one conviction: that their families would never give up on them.
And then in April of 2012, Ariel's wife Grimilda passed away. And before she died, she claimed that he was extremely abusive to her and also accused him of abducting their daughters. And these charges were dismissed on a technicality.
He beat my sister, he stomped on her head, he kicked her in the stomach repeatedly, all the time, in front of her children.
He abused her, he broke her, dislocated her arm, he had punched her in the ribs, and I mean, he had pushed her down a flight of steps, broke her skull from the front of her head to the back of her head.
You said that your wife would irritate you, she wouldn't stop talking, and then you would respond. Well, my understanding from the records is that she suffered a broken nose twice, she had broken teeth, and she otherwise was abused, but they were never followed through as a conviction. And that's unfortunate.
In 2005, the girls actually watched on TV, they were allowed to watch TV in his house, and they watched their own report on their own missing persons case for America's Most Wanted.
She gave me 50 cents to call my mom, and so my mom said no, that I can't go over her house. I couldn't, and she said, well, okay, I'll talk to you later, and she just walked.
Police canines tracked Gina's scent from the payphone at the corner, right down the street, halfway up the block, to this No Street sign right here. And this is where the trail went cold. The cops working to bring her home are the same cops trying to solve the disappearance of another teenage girl, almost exactly a year earlier and just a few blocks away. Amanda Berry vanished on April 21st, 2003. As she walked home from her job at this fast food restaurant. Two attractive teenage girls. They disappear in similar circumstances, along the same busy avenue. What does it mean? Whether or not these cases are connected, police and the families of these two girls need your help.
Amanda and Gina were taken from pretty much the same spot, and so was Michelle, but no one knew at this point. So Michelle wasn't even part of this series. People like just forgot about Michelle. It was like she was just gone. Amanda loved to watch TV, and she loved to watch the Montel show, and there was often a psychic on there named Sylvia Brown, and she's a famous psychic.
She's gone, honey.
Do you know where she's at?
In the house or under the house.
In that case, psychic Sylvia Brown was right.
Now, she really, really loved her, and she'd always wished that her mother would go on the show and ask Sylvia where her daughter was, hoping that it would maybe lead her mom to her. But then her mom actually did go on the show, and she saw her mom on there. She was all excited, and then the psychic Sylvia Brown told her mom that she's not alive.
Don't think I'll ever see her again?
Yeah, in heaven on the other side. I just hate that she's not alive, honey.
I just broke down crying because I couldn't believe she said that.
That's the hard thing with psychics, is sometimes they just make predictions that are so damn wrong. Like, I love psychics, I love learning about psychics, I'm fascinated by it. I think a lot of people have a gift, like I've said, but there's a lot out there that throw things out and they're so careless about it, and it really bothers me. And it like really made Amanda depressed while she was in there, knowing that her mom thought she was dead. And what made matters even worse is her mom ended up dying at age 43 from pancreatitis.
I think that was the hardest part of being in there. She was always fighting, and she was never gonna give up on me. And for her to get sick, and I couldn't be there with her. I couldn't help her when she was sick.
Isolated by loss, sometimes Amanda has only Castro.
I was just really sad, and I started talking to him, and he's like, everything's gonna be okay, everything's gonna turn out all right. So I asked him for a hug, and we hugged.
There had to be a part of you that was saying, what in the world?
There was, but then there was another part of me like, I needed that.
Now, when Amanda was 20 years old, she ended up getting pregnant. She was absolutely thrilled. She considered it to be a gift from her mother, and I can totally understand that. JC felt the same way, that it was someone that was connected to them. You know, you're with all these strangers, you're with these two other girls that are kidnapped and this random dude, and having something that's your own flesh and blood, your own baby, your little piece of love would be like the best thing that could ever happen to you. But it's also a double-edged sword, because on the other hand, this child is now going to be born directly into captivity. And of course, Amanda was not brought to the hospital when she was giving birth. Ariel decided to do it right there in his house, in his bathtub, and Michelle helped out. And luckily, even though the circumstances were horrible, she had a beautiful, healthy baby girl named Jocelyn. And Amanda did the best that she could to be a good mother while also being a prisoner. Ariel gave her socks to make the baby clothes. So for her early days, the baby literally wore socks as clothes.
Cut out like 2 holes for her legs, and then he cut out another sock, and then he cut 2 arms out, and that was like a little dress for her.
And it's really kind of cute. Amanda ended up making this whole like school and little world where you could pretend you were on actual roads and crosswalks and red light, green light, like trying to teach her what she'd be learning if she was, you know, a real child out in the world.
From day one of Jocelyn's life, Amanda fights for normal in the most abnormal of places. She covers the doors over her windows with a bright shower curtain. She pastes the alphabet up on a wall. Amanda creates an imaginary schoolhouse inside the prison of their tiny room.
We would pretend, leave our house, all of this in the same room, of course. I would tell her, okay, we're at a street now, so you gotta stop. And then you look both ways for cars, and then we can go across the street.
She's obviously missing going outside, and they finally decided to take her outside because the thing was, Ariel really, really loved his daughter. Like, he loved Jocelyn and he cared about her, and so it was this really awkward situation. You know, as she got older, she wanted to go outside because that's just natural. And Ariel did take her out and could see the joy in her when he did. So it got increasingly hard for him to hide this whole thing from her and keep her from wanting to be outside and wanting to do things that other kids were doing. Amanda was still in chains at this point. I mean, years had gone by of her being in chains. Jocelyn started asking, like, why is mommy in chains? And Ariel, when he, you know, couldn't really explain why, he decided to finally let Amanda out of her chains.
Right now, a rally is getting underway at that Burger King on West 110th and Lorraine to remember Amanda.
Would have walked down here a few blocks and then to the left, going home for a birthday party.
Judy Martin is with survivors and victims of tragedy and has been searching for Amanda and reminding people of her disappearance every year on April 21st. But when I asked a handful of people up and down Lorraine Avenue today, not one knew who Amanda Berry was, something Judy wants to change.
If all of us paid more attention to each other, this wouldn't be happening. People don't pay attention to what's going on until it happens to them.
But then on May 6th of 2013, something incredible happened. Jocelyn asked, "Where's Daddy's car?" And then Amanda realized that Ariel was gone.
It's like, Mom, Daddy's car is gone.
This was her chance. She was off her chains, you know, fight or flight. This is the move to make.
My heart immediately started pounding because I'm like, should I chance it? If I'm gonna do it, I need to do it now.
And Michelle and Gina were too scared to follow her, but Amanda decided to try to break out of the house. So she got to the front door and it was locked. So she started pushing and banging on part of it and screaming outside. Now, thank God a man was walking by at the same time. He was just eating some McDonald's, chilling, when he saw Amanda. I'll just play the clip of him explaining the story. He'll tell it much better than I will.
Talking with Charles Ramsey, he's a neighbor. Walk me through again what happened this afternoon. You heard screaming.
Heard screaming. I'm eating my McDonald's. I come outside. I see this girl going nuts, trying to get out of her house. So I go on the porch, and she says, "Help me get out. I've been in here a long time." So, you know, I figured it's a domestic violence dispute. So I open the door. Can't get in that way because how the door is, a body can't fit through, only your hand. So we could kick the bottom. And she comes out with the little girl, and she says, "Call 911. My name is Amanda Berry."
Did you know who that was when she said that?
When she told me, it didn't register until I got to calling 911. And then I'm like, I'm calling the 911 for Amanda Berry? I thought this girl was dead. You know what I mean? And she got on the phone, and she said, "Yes, this is me." The girl Amanda told the police, "I ain't just the only ones. It's some more girls up in that house." And like I say, my neighbor, you got some big testicles to pull this off, bro. Because we see this dude every day. I mean, every day. Right. I barbecue with this dude. We eat ribs and whatnot.
And you had no indication that there was anything going on?
Bro, not a clue. I knew something was wrong when a little pretty white girl ran into a black man's arms. Something is wrong here. Dead giveaway.
Charles Ramsey, neighbor, heard the screaming, took action, went and did what he needed to do. The rest is unfolding before us here on Seymour. I'm going to send it back to you.
So pretty crazy. Amanda followed him across the street, calls 911 with her baby in her arms.
Leave him 911.
Hello, please. Help me. I'm Amanda Berry.
You need police, fire, or ambulance.
I need police.
Okay, and what's going on there?
I've been kidnapped and I've been missing for 10 years, and I'm here. I'm free now.
Okay, and what's your address?
2207 Seymour Avenue.
2207 Seymour. Looks like you're calling me from 2210.
Huh?
Looks like you're calling me from 2210.
I can't hear you.
It looks like you were calling me from 2210 Seymour.
Yeah, I'm across the street. I'm using the phone.
Okay, stay there with those neighbors. Talk to the police when they get there.
Okay.
Okay, talk to the police when they get there.
Okay. Hello?
Yeah, talk to the police when they get there.
Okay, I'm on the way right now.
We're going to send them as soon as we get a car open.
No, I need them now before we get back.
All right, we're sending them, okay?
Okay, I mean, like,
who's the guy you're who's the guy who went out?
His name is Ariel Castro.
All right, how old is he?
He's like 52.
All right, and
I'm Amanda Berry. I've been on the news for the last 10 years.
Okay, I got that here. I already. And you said, what was his name again?
Ariel Castro.
And is he white, black, or Hispanic?
I'm Hispanic.
And what's he wearing?
I don't know, because he's not here right now. That's
when he left, what was he wearing? Right, the police are on the way. Talk to them when they get there.
As you can imagine, when these girls got out, it was a huge celebration. The town was excited.
It seems almost unbelievable. Missing for more than a decade and then found.
And neighbor after neighbor says that they had no clue this was going on for over a decade.
Obviously, police came into the house, rescued the rest of the girls.
Our first glimpse at those tense moments when Cleveland police pried open the front door of Ariel Castro's home, freeing Gina De Jesus and Michelle Knight. The rescue caught on cell phone video by Ashley Colon and Jasmina Baldwin when they noticed the commotion. It all unfolds just moments after Amanda Berry and her 6-year-old daughter escaped and ran across the street.
When I turn my camera, you can see a little bit of Amanda, I think. There she goes.
That's her, holding the baby, right?
I'm in that one room, and now I can just go anywhere I want.
Castro fathered Berry's daughter, Jocelyn, who was 6 at the time of the escape. The circumstances weren't ideal, but Berry was determined that Jocelyn would learn and grow. Centers for Families and Children tell me Berry is the model parent when it comes to early learning, especially in difficult circumstances. Jocelyn Berry entered 1st grade reading at a level ahead of her classmates and has endless promise for the future.
And on July 12th of 2013, the grand jury issued an indictment charging Ariel Castro with 977 counts, 500 counts of kidnapping, 446 counts of rape, 3 counts of child endangerments, 2 counts of aggravated murder, and 1 count of possessing criminal tools. So basically, he was fucked.
The only victim to appear, Michelle Knight, who said she spent, quote, 11 years in hell.
Days never got shorter. Days turns into nights. Nights turns into days. Years turn into eternity.
On July 26th of 2013, Castro decided to agree to a plea deal.
I'm not a monster. I'm a normal person. I am just sick. I have an addiction, just like an alcoholic has an addiction.
An addiction to sex, Castro said, the result, he claimed, of having been a victim himself of sex acts as a child. Ties, even a motorcycle helmet that police say was placed on at least 1 victim when she was sexually assaulted. A door rigged with an alarm clock to signal Castro if someone was trying to get out. Showing a model of his home, officials said he'd reconfigured the house to keep the women hidden. Even with the presentation of this huge trove of evidence, Ariel Castro was still bold enough to interrupt the judge several times.
Murderizing a fetus, that never happened.
Mr. Castro, you talked with your attorneys and you made the decision to plead to count 1
yes,
as indicted, correct?
I just want to clear the record. I never killed anyone, and I am not a murderer.
He was sentenced to life in prison plus 1,000 years, meaning he would never get out. September 3rd of 2013, and this still pisses me off to this day, Ariel Castro hung himself in his prison cell with his bed sheets.
Well, that monster known as Ariel Castro is dead. Apparently, he hanged himself with a bed sheet. Castro was serving a 1,000-year sentence, you may remember, for kidnapping and torturing 3 women.
But Gina, Michelle, and Amanda are incredibly strong women. Michelle's changed her name to Lily. They sadly aren't super close anymore. They did write books. Amanda and Gina wrote a book together, Michelle wrote her own book. I think there was some animosity. They did explain that while they were in there was some jealousy and tension, and that Ariel would purposely do things and like deprive someone of something and give it to someone else to cause jealousy, and basically made them at each other's throats all the time. I'm not sure where their relationship is at now. Hopefully it's better, but all three of these girls are doing really amazing things. Amanda's working to spread awareness for other missing people.
I'm Amanda Berry.
6 times a day, week after week,
helping Northeast Ohio Police bring missing people home.
Amanda has shared with you their names,
Rihanna Spear is 17,
faces, and stories with compassion.
He was last seen wearing a black jacket over a gray hoodie. They're more than a face, they're more than a name. They are a person. Kara Barton is 15 and a sophomore at Euclid High School. I put everything in a book, and I've made my own binder, and you know, I make sure if they're found, or if, you know, I kind of mark that down. If you've seen him, call Detective Callahan with the Cleveland Police Department.
1 year ago, Amanda Berry stepped into the Fox 8 studio on a mission as a survivor to help those who were struggling to find their way home.
I think this last year with Fox 8 has just been a dream come true, and I just want to tell you guys that, because I never really thought about coming home and being able to help.
Well, I just want to help find missing kids like me so they can be brought back to their family.
She understands that spreading information about missing people is the most important and vital thing that you can do to help out in that situation. So yes, it would have been awesome to see Ariel, you know, live out that life prison sentence and suffer the way that he made them suffer, or not even close, to be honest. But, you know, this turned out the best possible way. No one died, Jocelyn's okay, the baby's fine, developed, and they're back with their families now. It definitely is inspiring. You know, I look at so many missing persons cases, and hearing stories like this is what makes me keep wanting to look into it and find answers and make sure that these people don't slip away and fade away the way that Michelle Knight did. I mean, people thought she just ran away. Meanwhile, she was extremely close, living in this dude's house.
Thank you everyone for your love, support, and donations, which helped me build a brand new life. Just want everyone to know I'm doing just fine. I may have been through hell and back, but I am strong enough to walk through hell with a smile on my face.
I want everyone to know how happy I am to be home with my family, my friends. It's been unbelievable.
Gina, if you could say something to each and every person out there who contributed money to your fund to help you, what would you say to them?
I would say thank you for the support.
I'd like to thank everybody who donated to the Courage Fund for these girls.
Be sure to give this video a big thumbs up for more found videos. But that's it for me today, guys. I will see you next time. Bye.